Hey, good evening. Real fast, let's talk about a current governor of Florida, Governor DeSantis. What you have to keep in mind is that first and foremost, I'm not against everything that he done. I actually agree with his stance on COVID. I think he had a healthy stance about it. Hey, sounds like a lot of people are pushing things in directions, and there's a lot of information that is redirectional in a lot of directions. I know that's a lot, but I don't want to use misdirection because it's just a redirection. Because everybody has what we see today as statistics, and those statistics are backed by actual data. And if you are not in that realm, it's kind of hard to have a solid opinion on those statistics. So there were so many statistics and so many different things coming out at the time that closing down all of Florida was just not the right thing to do, and turned out, honestly, to be a healthy thing for, Floridians as a collective. So overall, did not do a bad thing. But what he did to those Mexicans when he flew them to that other place, not okay. We don't do that to people in general. That's where you have to have good character. Now, if we need to continue to push policy and reform to regulate immigration, that's okay. But to just bus and plane people to different places and they don't have a clue how to do whatever they're going to do, that's not okay. It's already costing us, and that is understood. And yes, we do not want to be paying for illegal anything. But we do understand that it is okay to be ethical about how you do things. So now you have to look at what he's been doing. This is something else I do not agree with. I do not agree with him blaming a lot of things on diversity and trying to tell people do not educate yourself on whatever you want to be educated on. Every country out here educates its citizens on the things that happen with their country. We don't learn a lot about India and, anywhere else. Let's just be realistic. We know where they are on the map. Maybe some of us do, and maybe some of us don't. But we don't learn a lot about their history like that. But we do learn a lot about American history. And you cannot limit that, period. Now, maybe you're saying that our curriculum, and this is just me saying, maybe our curriculum needs to be more economical, meaning when we go throughout our institutional learning, we are learning how to be survivors in our current economic environment. But to say that if I learn something that it is going to automatically create a negative divide is wrong. It's just going to give you a thought process on maybe looking at something different. But for me to want to control your thought process, that's wrong. I will, like I said in an earlier video, rhetorical situation is what you'll learn when you go through college. And a lot of people have heard that term before that have went through college. Rhetorical situation just simply means, what do you want from the audience? And it comes with a couple of categories, which we're not here to talk about. But I will tell you that it does involve how you influence your audience. I want you to look at the perspectives you have and look at the options and see if they meet your criteria. Right now, our current governor does not meet a lot of the characteristic moral qualifications that I would like to see in a governor. Simple as that. I don't want to see people fly people over and smile about it. That's not cool. It's just not cool to do people like that. There's got to be some humanity for all of us. Even if we are divided by ethnicity, there still needs to be treating people like humans. We already know that on a social economical structure, we're all platformed out. There are actually poor people. I don't even know if we can really define the middle class anymore. But did you know that they don't even allow you to say lower class? When's the last time you heard somebody say lower class? Because if they did, they would have to put you in that realm. Who wants to be called lower class? You know who should want to be called lower class? Everybody who's there. The reason you should want to be called lower class is because then they have to define why you are considered lower class. And it isn't always what we think it is. But now we're told to not say that. And they have more beautiful ways of describing the class system, because people were getting upset being considered low class citizens or lower class Americans and middle class and upper class. They did not want to define those anymore, because then you would start asking questions and having to say, hey, how can I get from the lower class to the upper class? And why are these people in the upper class? No one wants you to question them. And that's the problem. We cannot grow up and have our generation after generation after generation grow up in a dictatorship when America's ideal, its ideology was built on democracy for the people, by the people. For the people, by the people. You can't just say those phrases. You have to actually live by those phrases if we're going to put you in office. Put me in office and see somebody who lives by that phrase. For the people, by the people. All the people. All of them. That's what we're talking about. All people. Not just the haves. Because we're forgetting about the have-nots a little too often. Now, if you look at Governor DeSantis, he's also able to put people in places. So he talks about diversity, but he's actually putting in policy. And I keep telling y'all, pay attention to this law. These laws come before, but they still work the rhetorical situation or the influence groundwork. But once those policies are in place, if you go against those policies, you will unfortunately have to deal with the consequences. And we're trying to limit those consequences as much as possible. But you need to have good people that are going to allow you to explore, because America is supposed to be also based on exploration. Let's keep exploring so we can evolve in a healthy manner.